Yes, all right then, lads. Welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy, and I'm back again. We are back again. We are live, and this time it is better. I've been trying to sort out, a few technical problems. You know, when you are a one-man crew, you always have so many technical problems here and there, and live streaming becomes a nightmare. But we are gonna speak Correntin Tolliso. We're gonna speak Bruno Guimarez, and we're also going to try to dive into the possibility that Arsenal enter a new season without a central midfielder. How our midfield will look like and what we expect out of our midfield if we get in a central midfielder, or if we do not actually get in a central midfielder after Xhaka signing a new deal. We'll also discuss what we would get from Correntin Tolliso and the possibility that Arsenal have actually inquired actually about the possibility of the Bayern midfielder. I've called this the reality show, and the reason that's why I called it the reality show is at times we have so many rumors, we have so many things flying around Arsenal, but at times we need to reflect, we need to think about the real issues, the real problems, and the truth around the club. So that is what we're going to discuss. Correntin Tolliso, Bruno Guimarez, Granit Xhaka, and the midfield situation around Arsenal. Hit the like button, subscribe. Let's get the party started. Right then, lads, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast with me, your boy Cossy. And like I said, we're going to dive into central midfield. We're going to dive into the central midfield role and area, and try to understand it more, especially at a club like Arsenal that plays out from the midfield, that everything we do, we are not a counter-attacking, a club. We do not play defensive football. That means we want to try to dominate football. We want to try to dominate opponents. We want to try to dominate matches, and that depends on the quality of our midfielders. So we're gonna discuss Correntin Tolliso. We're gonna discuss Bruno Guimarez and a couple of other issues around Arsenal and the midfield. Do me a favor, smash the like button. Do me a favor, subscribe to the channel if you're new. We are very close to 32,000 subscribers, and also, of course, do me a favor and click that notification bell so that you get notified whenever we go live. We are sponsored by the beautiful people at OneXBet. OneXBet brings you all your latest in terms of betting. The Premier League is back. All the 5 top leagues are back, and of course, football is back. In general, you can bet on a wide range of games. That is what you want. So make sure you do bet with OneXBet so that you actually do not regret. Use my promo code Cossy Media, and of course, click the link in the description to get bonuses from them. Right. So let's get into it. Let's try to get into it. Today in the morning, I've looked at a couple of stories, and I decided to go with the James Maddison deal because I know with James Maddison, there's been a lot of hunger in the fan base. You wanted to hear from James Maddison. You wanted an update on James Maddison, so I decided to give you an update on James Maddison. I hope you have watched it. If you have not really watched it, try to watch it as long as you can, because it gives you a deeper insight of what that deal is all about. But as I was trying to look around, I also looked at I saw a story linking us to Correntin Tolliso, and we are gonna speak about Correntin Tolliso just in a minute. Would Arsenal actually need a player like Correntin Tolliso? Would we need the services of Correntin Tolliso? So the Metro have actually put out a story this morning indicating that Manchester United and Arsenal are one of the clubs that really would love to get in Correntin Tolliso at the moment. And the story is Manchester United and Arsenal ready to battle for 10 million euro Bayern Munich midfielder Correntin Tolliso. I doubt you would get Correntin Tolliso at 10 million euros unless something is not right. unless something is right, is not right. I doubt we would get Correntin Tolliso at just 10 million euros. I think they didn't get the price right, because I don't agree with that. 10 million euros, that is so below average, so below. But this is what they say. This is what they are saying. Manchester United and Arsenal are both interested in signing Bayern Munich midfielder Correntin Tolliso after the Bundesliga champions Harvard their asking price, according to reports. The two Premier League giants, or the two Premier League sides, are both in the market for a new midfielder this summer, with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer shelving his pursuit for right back in favor of a new enforcer, and Mikel Arteta eager to bolster the spine of his side. Now they could be about to face off to try and land Tolliso, with Bild reporting Bayern are willing to sell the 27-year-old for just £8.5 million, which is around 10 million euros. The France international, who was part of Didier Deschamps' squad for the Euro 2020, only has 1 year remaining on his contract with Bayern, and the Bavarians are keen to cash in on the player. He says they had considered renewing the injury-plagued midfielder's contract, but are now looking to offload players to raise funds to bring in new recruits, and that has altered both Arsenal and United to a potential bargain. Julian Nagelsmann is keen to add RB Leipzig Manchester Sabata to his squad, which would push Tolliso further down the pecking order. So Bayern are happy to let the former Lyon man leave this summer. So that is the story. That is the story. Arsenal and Manchester United are actually interested in getting in Correntin Tolliso in this summer. 10 million euros. My first question is, would you do that deal, people? Would you, the lads, tell me, let me know, the lads, would you actually go for Correntin Tolliso? Just 10 million euros. Just 10 million euros. Would you actually go for Correntin Tolliso in this summer? It's a question. But the other story is about Bruno Guimarez. And with Bruno Guimarez, I cannot display the story because I really didn't read it on a website. It's just a sneak peek on Twitter. And by the way, before we go any further, speaking about Twitter, Arsenal have released their kits. We have released our third kit. We've actually released our third kit, so we could actually take a look. Let's take a look. Arsenal have released their third kit, and that is how it looks like. It is on the Arsenal official website, so I hope you have seen it. There we go. I could just make them bigger. So that is our third kit. I don't know what you think. I don't know what your reaction is about it. It's definitely not better than the third kit we had last season. I don't think it is better, but that is how it looks like. It has that kind of blue, and then it has the Z pattern is kind of Z, and then it's kind of dark. I don't get it really, but that is our third kit. So now all our kits have been released. So it's time for the new season. That is the man himself. That is my man, Bukayo Saka in the third kit. It doesn't look so good for me. It doesn't look so good. I don't rate it. I think if I'm rating Arsenal kits, the first one, the home kit is better. The yellow kit, which is the away kit, comes second, and then this kit actually comes third. So what do you think about that kit? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know in the comments below as well. So let's dive into our topic of discussion, which is actually the central midfield and Correntin Tolliso. So like we've seen, Arsenal would want to buy Correntin Tolliso. 10 million euros, it's an absolute bargain. It's an absolute bargain. But the problem with Tolliso is injuries. Ever since he joined Bayern Munich, he's been disturbed time in, time out, with injuries, and that is the only problem he has as a player. Apart from that, he's a quality midfielder. 10 million euros. I'm tempted to do that. If I'm Edu, I'm tempted to do the deal. I'm absolutely tempted to do the deal. 10 million euros for me is a bargain. It's an absolute bargain. It's a deal I would want to do. Smash the like button, people. Make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you do smash the like button. But 10 million euros for Correntin Tolliso. It is a deal I want to do. But my problem with Tolliso, like we've read from the Metro, is he's disturbed by injuries. His career is actually being eaten up by injuries. And of course, we know, we've seen, what injuries can do to players. We've seen the likes of, Abu Diabe. Diabe was one of those very strong central midfielders, very strong defensive midfielder. But again, a very good box to box, but injuries actually destroyed Abu Diabe's career. So with the links that have been, coming out in this summer, for me, it was more than clear that Arsenal wanted to get in a central midfielder, because we've been linked with a central, with more central midfielders than any other, than any other position. Locatelli, Guimarez, Tolliso, Renato Sanchez, Ruben Neves, and a couple of other Bissouma, and a couple of other, and a couple of other players. So it just shows you that Arsenal were actually ready and prepared to get in a central midfielder. And that is why I've asked you a question in the comments. Do you think we better bring in a central midfielder? Do you think it's better, for Arsenal to bring in a central midfielder, or is the attacking midfield more important, at this point in time at Arsenal? Because that's the question, and that is where we fall, and that is where we are heading. If we get in an attacking midfielder and keep Xhaka, Partey, and Albert Sambi-Lokonga, will we get better results than we did last season? That is my question. Can we be guaranteed of better results than we did last season if we actually get in a central, an attacking midfielder instead of a central midfielder? Because if you brought in a player like Correntin Tolliso and his quality, you absolutely know what Arsenal gets from signing Correntin Tolliso. Everyone knows that. It's not news. It's not a coincidence. Everybody knows what Arsenal get in by signing a player like Correntin Tolliso, be it Bruno Guimarez. And I said it at the beginning of the window, and I said I think Arsenal needed an upgrade in terms of a central midfielder, because for me, everything starts with central midfield. I don't know if I'm right or I'm wrong, but with a club that wants to play from the midfield, a club that wants to build attacks, a club that wants to build very strong attacks, everything starts from the midfield. Everything, is created from the midfield. Look at Manchester City, and their biggest strength is, how they dominate football, how they dominate football games. And really, if you think about it, how they dominate football games is by having a very strong midfield. Rodri, Gundogan, Kevin De Bruyne, and now they have Grealish. Having a very strong midfield gives you the kind of dominance a club like Arsenal would want, per 90 per game. If we fail to get in a central midfielder, if we renew Xhaka's contract, my worry and my big question is, where does it take us? Where does Xhaka take us? Do we get better results only by simply getting in an attacking midfielder, or we would actually get better results by improving the central midfield and the attacking midfield? Because if it is for the money, I think I wouldn't say it's for the money. I would spend 50 million. I would spend 30 million on a central midfielder at Arsenal and don't buy Ben White. Don't get me wrong. I think buying Ben White was a very good decision, very, very good decision. But personally, I think I would have played all the players that I have available in defense. I would have played all players that are available, for Arsenal in defense, just to get in a central midfielder. I would have. Absolutely, I would have. And it's just not it's not a matter of it's not a matter of it's actually not a matter of who signs and who doesn't sign, who we bring in and who we don't bring in. I think it's a matter of priorities. In my case, Arsenal's priorities have always been since last season. a central midfielder, an attacking midfielder. And I thought when we went in the summer and when we dive in, when we actually entered the transfer window, you saw the links. Bissouma, Renato, it only pointed, Locatelli, it only pointed to the fact that Arsenal were going to get in a central midfielder. And Fabrizio Romano said it himself, Arsenal wanted a central midfielder. We badly wanted one. When we played against Spurs, Xhaka was in that midfield with Albert Samuel Lokonga. And I was like, wait a moment. It looks like we are making a huge transfer problem by leaving Xhaka to stay at the club. We are letting a player who we actually know is actually not going to provide anything anymore at the moment. And we know that, and it's absolutely true. Arsenal are not getting anything else from Granit Xhaka. Absolutely nothing else. So I think, personally, I think like we brought in Lokonga to be an understudy to maybe Thomas Partey, we should have brought in another player. We should have done another player like maybe, we should have brought in a younger player, maybe 17 million, maybe 20 million, maybe 5 million to be an understudy to Xhaka. Because look, when Lokonga does well, you can drop Partey. You can. You can drop Partey on the bench if Lokonga performs better than Partey. And that is the kind of competition we are going to have. Lokonga is a very good player with a lot of potential. Partey is a massively talented player that is a finished article. My problem with the central midfield area at Arsenal is Xhaka doesn't have competition. That is my problem. Xhaka doesn't have competition in that area. He doesn't. It's like it is Xhaka all the way through. And with his durability and consistency, Xhaka is gonna play 35 games, 36 games in a season. And we're gonna keep getting, regular performances from a player. When it goes away, it shouts because no one challenges him. But if getting a better challenger to Granit Xhaka, for me, things change. So I think it's a big transfer mistake that we are not actually getting in a central midfielder. Absolutely, a very big a very big mistake. Central midfield for a club like Arsenal is as vital as any other position in that midfield. Because, like I said, be it modern football that we want to play, be it traditional football that we want to play, Arsenal's football rotates around the idea of midfield, the idea of strength in the midfield. That is it. You can see last season, we barely scored very few goals, 55 goals. Just 55 goals last season. And for me, the problem was with the midfield. There's no other question. Because Lacazette was on fire. Lacazette was lit up. Last season, he could have scored 25. He could have scored at least 20 goals. Yeah. And I'm glad that he really got in, double figures. He could have scored more than that. But the midfield was actually down. Partey was always injured. Elneny played 26 games in a season for Arsenal. Elneny is not good enough. We know that. Not good enough. So the links of Bruno Guimarez and Correntin Tolliso, even at a time when Xhaka is going to sign a new contract, they speak a lot about why Arsenal need to get in a central midfielder. For me, they just highlight the problem. And I don't think we need highlighting. Our problems as a club are just too visible. They're just very visible. A central midfielder, 2 years now, 3 years now, we've come to a consensus that Xhaka might not be the best player we want or we need to have at this side. As simple as that. It's easy to understand. It's easy to see, and it's easy to process and take in. The idea of bringing in an attacking midfielder, we will discuss that at 9 p.m. today. But the idea of bringing in an attacking midfielder is so good. Very, very good. But if you look at all teams that play from the midfield, they have a very good attacking midfielder and they have a very, very good central midfielder. Look at Spurs. Just look at Spurs. Spurs had Tango Ndombele, is their box-to-box, and they had Pierre-Emile Højbjerg as their CDM. Their midfield was absolutely elite. And they literally don't play a lot of possession-based games. They didn't play a lot of, possession-based games last season. And Jose Mourinho, they were all about running around here and there. You know that. City, they have a Rodri, and they'll have a Kevin De Bruyne, or they'll have an Ike Gundogan somewhere. United, they'll have Pogba, they'll have Bruno. So we might have a very good CDM, and we might bring in a very good attacking midfielder, but the absence of central midfielder, the absence of that player that does the scheming, a player that actually adds the vibe and morale and dictates the game, is actually going to affect us at the end of the day. I would love to get in your thoughts, though, on what you think about that. I would love to get in your thoughts on what you think about Arsenal and the idea that we might not get in a central midfielder. Do you think we will perform better? Do you think do you take it for granted? Do you just take it for granted? You know what? Whether we get in a central midfielder or we don't, it's okay. We will perform well. When I produce my season ratings and predictions, I'm putting Arsenal in top 6. But there is a condition: we finish top 6. We have to get in a central midfielder. We have to get in a right back and a good backup goalkeeper. Then I'll put Arsenal in top 6. But the idea of central midfield will affect us definitely in the next season. In this coming season, not next season, in the coming season, it will affect us. We won't be able to dominate games. Xhaka doesn't dominate games, and that is my problem. That is why I would rather have Odegaard come in, because Odegaard is a game controller. Apart from Odegaard in the Arsenal side, we don't have game controllers, and that's my problem. You don't have a player who dictates play for so many minutes. You don't have that player. Xhaka ain't one. Absolutely, he's not that kind of player. He's none. And however much we want to force it, however much we want to feel like Xhaka is our man and things like that is good enough, we've got to speak the truth. Xhaka is never going to be that kind of player that dictates play for Arsenal. You will never possess football against Manchester City with Granit Xhaka. You will never. It's never going to happen. It's not there. And the reason for me is Xhaka's ceiling has already arrived. We have reached Xhaka's ceiling. We're not seeing anything new from Granit Xhaka. And that's why you would want to have to see a fresh look, in a player like Bruno Guimarez. Because what Guimarez adds, to this Arsenal side is very different. Xhaka doesn't create chances per 90. He even doesn't, he doesn't try to shoot outside the box. When I was speaking about James Maddison on 90 more, I said what Arsenal would be getting from signing James Maddison is quite easy and quite clear. You get a player who tries to shoot outside the box. As simple as that. That is one of the things you're getting. At Arsenal, you don't have one. Partey tries, his shots are absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. Xhaka, seldom. Yeah. Emu Smith, well, yeah, at times, but once in every 3 games. So I think with players like Bruno, Guimarez, you'd get a lot of quality. And I don't know why Arsenal actually decided to go for a very expensive centre-back, 55 million, rather than a central midfielder. I would do central midfield. I'm telling you, absolutely. For all reasons in the world, I would do a central midfielder first. I would have done a central midfielder. Just imagine, we were looking for a perfect partner for Thomas Partey. And I said it in the window that will determine how serious we are and how serious we took the warning of the past 2 seasons. But if it is only Xhaka, no, I don't buy into it. I don't buy into it. And there is no excuse that Arsenal is going to give me or give any fans why we do not actually sign in a central midfielder. Owa is available. Houssem Owa is actually available for less than 25 million euros. You would get him. 25, 24, you would get him. So for me, it's not all about the money. It's about Mikel Arteta trusting and loving. He says, I would rather have my man. I would rather have Xhaka. I would rather keep Xhaka than let him leave. And that's the problem. I spoke about it in this Arsenal season preview. If you've not watched the video, it only has 3,000 views. That means many of you have actually not watched it because you want to watch transfer gossip. But if you've watched that video, when I was speaking about Mikel and the Arsenal preview, I said, pick players that are right. Don't pick players that you fancy. Xhaka, for me, picking Xhaka all day long, all season long, for Mikel Arteta is under two explanations. One, there is no one better than Xhaka, and he's our best. Two, he loves Xhaka. He's always pleaded with him to stay. A player who had an agreement with Roma to leave should leave. I don't know. I don't know why we don't get money in Granit Xhaka and replace him with Houssem Aouar and see a difference. I don't get it why Arsenal done. I don't get it. It's either Mikel thinks Xhaka is good enough, which I think is not true, and a couple of many Arsenal fans think, yeah, Xhaka is good enough. Xhaka is okay. Not Arsenal standard for me anymore. Not Arsenal standard for me. Maybe 5 years ago at Gladbach, I loved him. But the pace of the German Bundesliga and the time it takes for you to decide a course of action and take action in the Bundesliga is so different from the Premier League. Very, very different. Very different. Premier League is so fast. Premier League is hectic. And, if Arsenal could only think about that, if Arsenal could only just think about that we are not letting Xhaka go because of disrespect or because he's bad. We want something better. We just want an upgrade. If we could think about that, but we failed. We absolutely failed. And for me, that is 2 marks off, of our transfer ratings. 2 marks off. Retain Xhaka, retain Hector Bellerin, because that is where we are heading now. We could retain Hector Bellerin. So retain Xhaka, retain Bellerin. What have you changed in this window? Ben White could as well turn out to be a William Saliba. So literally, no business in the window. Our priorities were central midfield, attacking midfield. Those were our 2 biggest problems. You can't have a quality press. You can't have a very strong press if you do not have a quality midfield. You can't have it. It's true. And that's why United fans will always complain about Fred and McTominay and Fred playing together, because McTominay, Fred, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. It absolutely doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't give you the quality you want. Imagine if Fred and McTominay don't play together and we're playing Xhaka in that midfield, and when Xhaka doesn't play, we play Mohamed Elneny. Amen. The reality, and that's why I do love this reality check shows, and I decided to do one, whenever I get the time. Is the reality is Arsenal is holding back. They're trying to protect Xhaka. I don't want to come and abuse Xhaka, and I won't do it. I've done it before. I won't do it again. I don't want to come and embarrass and really speak about Xhaka, throw out a lot of rage on the player. But it was visible. It was more visible that Arsenal needed in a better central midfielder, and we absolutely failed at that. We failed at that, and it's gonna hurt us. It's gonna really hurt us in the coming season. So, guys, for me, if Arsenal do not go anywhere, if Arsenal fail to getting the results we want or expect, I won't be really shocked. Absolutely, I won't be shocked. I would love to have your say. The link is in the comment section. That is the link. Click on that link, and I'll have you straight here. You'll be able to give me your opinion about what you think about the issue of central midfield at Arsenal. Have we done the right thing? Are we doing the right thing? Is it the right course of action for us not to go for a central midfielder? Attacking midfield is just enough. Is that what you would like to think? A couple of people have voted, and they're saying attacking midfield is more important than central midfield, and that is where my debate lies. Absolutely. Thank you so much for getting involved, because that is where my debate lies. Honestly, attacking midfield is very important at a club, very, very important. But personally, I don't think it's more important. I don't think it's more important. It's way too far important than the central midfielder. I don't think so. I think the midfield pivot, in my opinion, we have the central midfielder and a defensive midfielder. I think that pivot works more. I think that pivot gives more. I think it's more important because central midfield. The question is, what exactly do you get from a central midfielder? And I don't blame Arsenal fans for saying, "Oh, attacking midfield is more important than central midfielder." I don't blame you, because we have had Xhaka for 5 years, so you literally don't see any importance in having a good central midfielder. But let me ask you. Let me just ask you a question. Xavi. How important was Xavi in that Barcelona side? How important was Xavi in that Barcelona side? How important is Kevin De Bruyne in that Manchester City side? How important is Paul Pogba at United? How important is Wijnaldum or I don't want to say Jadon Henderson, because Henderson is more of a plays more of a CDM, though he's I think he's a quiet CDM. But how important was Kevin Phillips for England? How important was Pedri for Spain? That is what I'm talking about, and that's the kind of idea I want to bring out. If you look at Cruz and Modric will win a Ballon d'Or, yeah. If Madrid win the La Liga and Champions League, probably it's gonna be Modric that wins the Ballon d'Or. But there's a lot of work done by Modric. There's a lot of work. There's a very big debate that we had, not on this channel really, but should Jorginho win Ballon d'Or if Italy win the Euros? That was the debate we had, and many people were like, "What? What are you saying? Why do you want to give the Ballon d'Or to Jorginho? He's a central midfielder. He literally does nothing." And that argument is reflecting on this channel, because most of you are saying attacking midfield is more important than central midfield. I don't think so. Obviously, I think we can do away without we can do away with the number 10 if we have a very good central midfield. Just imagine if we play Partey, Cazorla, and Smith Rowe. Okay, with Smith Rowe you have a number 10. Partey, Cazorla, and Ramsey. If you play Partey, Cazorla, and Ramsey, yeah, I think that midfield is more capable of giving you more goal scoring opportunities, more goals from the midfield, than playing Smith Rowe, Partey, and Xhaka. So for me, I still feel that importance of a central midfielder. I still believe a central midfielder is 99% as important as an attacking midfielder, because you need first and foremost, you need a player who thinks for the team, a brain that doesn't only think about scoring, because for attacking midfielders, what they have, the likes of Ozil, is they think about they think in one line of action. That is them. They think about, how do we score, how do we create chances. And if you've seen my reaction to James Madders on Cossy 90, or you've seen it, he's more about making things happen. He doesn't care about the rest. He's more about making things happen. With central midfielders, the beauty with them, and I think why they're so important, is all the matters of the club squarely fall onto their shoulders. That is why I love central midfielders so much, and I would love to have a quality one. when we lose the ball, a central midfielder falls back, falls back to the pivot, and you're gonna see many central midfielders have very very deep 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 average positions if their clubs are not having the ball. You'll never see a central midfielder at the center line when we are not in possession. So literally, he falls back, tries to win the ball back, and help us, regain possession. Partey, for instance, when we go up front and we are attacking and we are the threats, again, the central midfielder is responsible, one, to supply that ball forward, two, try to create some chances, three, try to score some goals. And you will see them that you'll see that players like Ike Gundogan, players like Ike Gundogan will score more goals for Manchester City, and their average position actually is a little bit higher up the field if they are dominating the game. That is why I think for me a central midfielder is key. And that's why I never wanted Bissouma at Arsenal. I never wanted Bissouma in the first place because I really thought he was a good player, and I still think he's a very good player. But there are better players we can get in that area that give us the spark, that give us that kind of new life that we do not have. I don't think Bissouma comes at Arsenal and breathes life into the because we are like an artificial human that needs oxygen. So we just need someone to breathe life into us, someone to pump oxygen into us. And I don't think the midfield needs a player like Bissouma. Honestly, let us forget about Bissouma's greatness as a player. United need Bissouma. United have Paul Pogba. They need Bissouma. They need someone to take care of tackling, take care of interceptions and things like that. Arsenal don't. Arsenal don't. In Partey, Arsenal don't. So we need someone that has there is that kind of player that has the most touches on the pitch, the central midfielder. And if you look at Xhaka and the number of passes Xhaka makes very very many passes, and most of his passes are very accurate because his passing is basic. His passing is basic. I don't know if guys, let me try to recommend for you this channel. It's very good, and I'm gonna recommend this video. Go and watch James Alcott, the preview to Spain Euro 2020. Go and watch the preview to Spain Euro 2020, and the headline is, the title is why Pedri is the key. Is it why Pedri is the key or Pedri is the key? But you'll find Pedri is the key. Just type in Google James Alcott, Pedri is the key, and you'll see what Pedri, because Pedri literally played every minute of that Spain side, and Pedri is just, how old is Pedri? 19, 20, 18? Very young. But he absolutely played every minute for Spain in the Euros. And apart from that, if you look at if you look at our passing patterns as Spain in the Euros, the thicker lines were either looking for Pedri or coming from Pedri. So it was Spain passing in a pattern where you have Pedri central at the heart of that passing system, because Spain is a passing system. So with Arsenal, we are also a passing system, and we've got to consolidate that. But there's no way you consolidate that with Granit Xhaka in the Premier League. Because Xhaka had a very good performance in the Euros, all of us know that. And I think when he watches it, he's like, it reminds him of his Borussia Mönchengladbach days. But at the moment in the Premier League, you need someone who does what Xhaka did in the Euros at a better pace. And look, Spain was slow. We were very slow in the Euros, but Pedri could give us that kind of, occasionally, he could give you that kind of faster heartbeat. If you're Partey, who's not very fast, of course, Partey is very fast in terms of progressing the ball and things like that, but he doesn't pass his ball at a very fast rate, if you've seen it. When he's dribbling and moving forward, yeah, it's fine. The pace is okay. But his passing as Thomas Partey is lit, but not at a very fast rate. Xhaka is slower. how do you think, who's gonna help the midfield? Who's gonna help each other out? That has always been my problem. So, guys, all in all, my final thoughts on this, as you get in your thoughts, is Arsenal might not get in a central midfielder, but it would be an absolute mess, an absolute mess. Let me know what you think about the central midfield role, and why and your thoughts on Arsenal actually not getting in a central midfielder. But we have is it a Leicester City fan? Hello, bro.
No. Hello. It's an Arsenal fan.
Yes, sir.
I'm okay.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, my thought was on Granit Xhaka.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I personally think Xhaka is a very decent player. Very decent.
Okay.
But then what worries me, he had an excellent Euro display. A very good, excellent Euro. Very good. But then you have to question yourself, why isn't the manager getting these performances out of him? You understand? So it's an issue more to do with the manager than Xhaka himself.
I'm gonna ask you one question: is have you ever been satisfied with Granit Xhaka? Have you ever been satisfied with Granit Xhaka in any season, even before Mikel Arteta?
Yes, personally, I've had him as our best CM all over. All the seasons he has been at Arsenal. He has been our best player.
Yeah, he's been up, and I absolutely agree with you. Over the years, Xhaka has been one of our best midfielders. But is he our best midfielder because he's so good, or he is our best midfielder because we actually do not have better options? What do you think? If you had to choose between Iniesta and Xhaka, or Xavi and Xhaka, would you go for Xhaka?
No, but then you have to understand, Cossy, that Iniesta and Xavi were different class, total absolute class. You understand?
We can also get that class. What about can you compare for me, if you can, Xhaka and Sami Nasri? Who would you go for in central midfield?
Sami Nasri on any day.
Yeah. Why?
Yes, okay, he's good at progressing the ball forward. He was a better player, fast, very quick, and his first touch was always good.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is Xhaka is good, but we have had better. Why did we go for? Because from Sami Nasri to Xhaka is a downgrade. Do you agree with me? Would you agree with me if said from Sami Nasri to Xhaka is a downgrade?
No, I wouldn't agree, because by the time we bought him from Borussia Mönchengladbach, he was a far better player.
Yeah, he was a far better player. Yes, he was a far better player. By the time we brought him at Gladbach, but he's been here for 5 years. Xhaka has not been here for 2 years or 1 season. He's been here for 5 years. Do you think he's gonna improve? Do you think do you see anything better coming out of Xhaka? Maybe.
Yeah, I personally think he can improve his game, adding to the fact that he has better leadership skills. Okay, actually, for me, I think managers are sticking to him because of his leadership skills.
So maybe, and maybe because he's a senior member of the team as well.
Yeah. Then to talk about the issue of the attacking midfield, I would prefer an attacking midfielder than a central midfielder.
You would prefer an attacking midfielder than a central midfielder. Like, I mean, how do you think about central midfielders? Like, what do they do? What do you think they do in a game? What is their responsibility?
Okay, personally, I think a central midfielder is more depending on what kind of gameplay you guys have. Now, let me give you a very good example. At Liverpool, they don't need someone who can progress the ball very fast, because they don't play that. They are more of a counter-attacking team, you get. But then for Arsenal, I think the problem we have with our managers is like they don't trust these young boys. You're giving a very good example about Pedri. Pedri is an exceptional player. Yeah. But if he was at Arsenal, would he have been given that time he's having at Barcelona? An 18-year-old. You understand? Yeah, right. Now, you're having Arsenal fans debating that Lokonga is not good enough. Play him. He might be our Pedri. You understand? Yeah, right. Play Lokonga and Partey. Yes. Pedri is just 18, but then he's starting at Barcelona, moreover Barcelona. a club of that caliber. You understand?
Yeah, right.
So I'm having a very good partnership in Pate and Lokonga. Play Pate and Lokonga, get in an hour Ole Madison, get the right back sorted, and backup goalkeeper, and that's done.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah, for your thoughts, bro. Anything else you want to say?
Nothing much other than our third kit. You're in positive about our third kit, but it's better for me.
It doesn't look good for me.
It's better for
really
me.
look good for me.
Okay, nice time, Cossy.
Thank you. Are you happy with the kit? Are you happy with that kit? Oh, he didn't actually reply to that. But look, I really don't have big issues with Arsenal kits, but that one doesn't really. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna buy it. Maybe to look, it will look better when I put it on, or when I have it in person. But it really doesn't look so good for me. Not really so good. On Xhaka, you're deceiving. Try to be honest. He is error prone, but still he was a better CM for us last season. His leadership skills are unmatched. I would in fact make him captain again. Come on, Pius. He's error prone. I don't think he's error prone. I don't think Xhaka is error prone though. You're also deceiving as well. I don't think Xhaka is error prone. The leadership people say he has, I don't get it. Arsenal team is uncoordinated. We are the most uncoordinated team in the world on the pitch. So there is no leadership you guys are trying to. Yes, I mean, he's a senior member of the team and he can talk maybe in the dressing room, but on the pitch, maybe. We need an AM and a CM. Arsenal is the only club that know the problem and actually don't solve it. That's according to Bright. Okay. The best signing Arsenal can do this summer is chasing away Edu Arteta with their ringleader Stan Kroenke. That would be awesome, but is it happening soon? I don't think so. How are you, Anu? Good afternoon to you as well. Fury says, hi, Cossy. I'm still not convinced if Arsenal will sign any player. We've signed already 3. We've signed 3 of them, so you should be more convinced because of that. But Nasri was more of an attacking midfielder, and the formation was also different. But no, what I'm trying to say is Sami Nasri, you wouldn't play Sami Nasri as a 10. You're always gonna play Sami Nasri, in a pivot, because he was too advanced. That's why you're gonna say, oh, he was more of a an AM. He wasn't an AM. He wasn't really an AM. I think Arsenal have to let some players go. You're absolutely right. We've spoken about that. Okay. And lastly, Oloranti says, Cossy, you know what? Don't blame Arteta if there is money. I mean, if they can release money for Arteta, he will definitely get better players. Don't compare Xavi to Xhaka. Because the kind of material. You're absolutely right. No, I was only trying to compare them, not because they're at the same level, but because they can actually play in the same area. Like I would compare Robert Lewandowski to Olivier Giroud. Like it's not really like they're at the same level. But Robert Lewandowski is a 9, Olivier Giroud is a 9, so we can compare them, can't we? Okay, Cossy, please. Leadership is inborn, while coordination is developed in training. This means the coaching. This means it's the coaching with the problem. Yeah, you might be right, but what is leadership? That's my question. What is leadership? If you say if we say Jordan Henderson is a leader and his team falls into pieces on the pitch, uncoordinated, then why do we say he's a leader at the end of the day? So I think honestly, if you're gonna speak facts, any team that has a leader is coordinated. For me, a team that is uncoordinated, the leadership lacks, honestly. And I think Arsenal is uncoordinated. Thanks everybody for watching in. We've been live for 50 minutes, and I'll call it a show at this. Make sure you do smash a like on the video. Make sure you do subscribe. Let's get them to 100 likes right about now, people. Let's smash the like button to 100 right about now. Get in more 20 likes. Get in 20 more likes. Get them to 100 right about now. That is our central midfield problem. And I think in the next show we're gonna speak about all Arsenal transfer rumors, all Arsenal transfer news, and see where it goes. Someone is asking me, a very frank question. Cossy, are we signing any player or not? Hassan, we are still in the market. A leader can even be on the bench, and the well coordinated team performs. That's what I'm saying. Look, that is what I'm saying. You might have a player like Jadon Henderson on the bench, and then he has direct influence on that pitch. Try to make that team coordinated. Doesn't mean that you have to be on the pitch, not really. But if you're not a leader, like Aubameyang is not a leader, really, I don't think it works. But anyway, guys, like I said, at 6:15, we'll be discussing the attacking midfield role at Arsenal and the options we are looking at.